So Tony Hawks, thank
Hello.
you ever so much for coming. So it's been a little bit of a task getting into Bath.
I've been driving around the system looking for a small car park and failed to find it, but I'm here.
Yes, well, Bath, it's not the easiest place to navigate round. There's a lot of, even on foot,
I stupidly have not got a sat nav. I'm one of the few people in the world that still thinks a map and asking people is good enough. But it isn't. I'm going to have to succumb to it.
So you're not having a sat nav, is that purposeful? It's like, I won't have this, or is it just...
I'm stubbornly holding off, and I just don't want technology in every single bit of my life.
No, I know what you mean. Do you have a smartphone? And
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do, but... and now, you think, oh, I've got that now, I can't be without it. So, every time you get it, you're kind of more reliant on these things. So,
yes, absolutely.
I'm holding on as long as I can.
Trying your best, yeah. Well, you're here in Bath for your new film, Playing the Moldovans at Tennis.
Yeah.
Are you excited? Is this the first airing of it? Is this...
No, we had a world premiere in Moldova itself. Then we had a London premiere in Odeon, Leicester Square, and then I've been to about 5 or 6 different cinemas, and now we're part of a major tour.
So this is kind of a tour of kind of introducing the...
Yeah, it's a bit like the problem that you have with a small film is if you don't have big stars or a big budget behind you in terms of advertising, the cinemas... they won't take it because it's how are they going to put the bums on the seats?
Absolutely,
so you have to go round and turn up and make an event of it. So it's I've got to schlep round the place, but it's fun.
So it happens the way it shows. Is it is an event like this? It's not. Is it going to any art house cinemas or?
Yeah, it's going to lots of art. So what happens is I turn up, I introduce the film, go and have a meal, and then come back and do a Q&A for people.
I see. Yeah. But is it always in that forum? It's not sort of goes to a place for a week and they show it?
Not at the moment, but sometimes what we're kind of hoping is that then the cinema might take it longer. But again, without an advertising, we spend all the money making the film. There's nothing left for advertising. So.
But then I suppose that's the way it should be. And if you've got a good product, then I suppose the hope is that will shine through.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping.
It's been a long time in the making as well, isn't it? Because didn't I read? It might not be right, but was it 2010 you finished filming?
Yeah. Well, we shot the first bit in Moldova in May 2010. Then the editor was busy. So the thing is, when you make something low budget, you've got to pick people when they're not doing high paid work. But also, we brought out Round Island with a Fridge that summer, so we wanted to leave at least a year before we brought another product out. So I think for about a year we sat on it, then we sort of got cracking on it, and so it feels like it's an age in coming, but in fact we've had a fair bit of time, and we sort of rest. It's like resting. It's like shooting it all, resting, and then going back to it again. Yeah.
So it was kind of a possibility when you were doing Round Island with a Fridge, or was it?
No, not really. I think we made Round Island with a Fridge, and that's how I sort of learned that it was how to do it. This is possible. Wow, you can really do this.
Yeah, because weren't you approached initially? So it wasn't really your intention to make it a film at all.
Well, never. No. It was. It was a combination of being approached by a producer and then thinking long and hard and thinking, could this make a screenplay? And we had a go. We had several goes at getting it off the ground, and in the end we did it that way. And then a similar thing happened with Playing the Moldovans at Tennis, except when I looked at the book again, I realised that there was a much easier screenplay to write. It had a natural...
It has a natural curve,
yeah.
Because I suppose with a book you can be a little more... more time can happen, I suppose, without much happening.
I think you would... it's just a different genre. You've got pictures instead of words. That's the obvious thing. But you sit reading a book, and you can chuckle at a description. You can chuckle about what you think about something. In a film, you just got someone looking at somebody. So your comedy or it has to come from how you film it and how you make it look. You lose huge swathes of what made a book amusing. and you need a good story as well. But this one did have all that. It had a natural shape, it had a twist and a turn and various things, and these gangsters in Moldova, and I'm really pleased with how it's come out. Yeah.
And have you had to sort of train your mind to think more cinematically, or is it? I mean, I suppose because you've done it already, haven't you? So it's less of a step.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a partnership making a film. So you have a director of photography who I had, who was very visual, and we were always sitting down and saying, how can we shoot this? How can we make it interesting? And that's the fun of it, I think. You're trying to get a look for and you shoot it from all different angles as well. And then we get in the editing stage, and you just assemble it.
Yes, I suppose that's quite a lot of creativity comes from the editing as well, and how you put it together. Yeah. It's not finished with the shooting.
I think you really do make the film in the edit, really. I mean, because you've got all this stuff. I mean, we went back and reshot at the beginning because we hadn't quite got that right, so we did a different beginning, and you solve all your problems in the edit. We'll move this scene to here, we'll cut this, we'll just start this film from this point forward, we'll take that chunk out, it's where you really do get cracking on it.
And you kind of, is the film absolutely what you wanted it to be? Is it because have you budgeted it, or how does the funding work?
Yeah.
Is there criteria that you've got to meet with it, or is it totally your baby?
Well, it's totally my baby, this one, because I put my money into it. But there was an amount of money I had to spend on it, so I had to basically not go over my own budget, really, which we managed to do. The idea for this project was make it with my own money and then give the profits to this care centre I've started for kids with cerebral palsy in Moldova. So it's kind of like the whole thing's a philanthropic adventure.
Yes, yeah, it's almost like a whole sort of self-contained project.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's difficult about film and is that as soon as you've got like thousands of people funding it and different people, everyone's telling you cast this person, the fun goes out of it. It becomes a stressful operation. It's hard enough as it is without people breathing down your necks and expecting you to cast this person so that you can bring in American money. I mean, it's actually not a very nice business. So just wanted to make something as good as you could, and then take it from there. Really
doing something creatively good and something that you're proud of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're pleased with the final product.
Yeah, and it works well. People really like it, and it touches at the heartstrings. People are quite good. They're donating quite a lot. So we had some big donations after the London premiere as well. So I think it's going to do what it was supposed to do, deliver. At the moment we're in the final of a film festival in Hollywood called the Feel Good Film Festival. Who knows? You really just need a bit of luck with something like this. You just need to break through and get picked for something and win an audience award or something. And someone can pick up on it and go from there.
I suppose it must be exciting, kind of seeing the way it is being received by people around I mean, has it surprised you how people have taken it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, I was secretly hopeful, but I think what you do is when you make something, you have to sort of say, okay, look, there's a good chance people won't like this as much as you hope, so be prepared. So then when they do, it's a bit of a surprise because you're pleasantly surprised. Let's put that. So in a moment, I'm going to go in and introduce the film because it starts in about 5 minutes. Then I'll sort of set it all up. Then I walk away and it shows for an hour and a half, and I go back and do the Q&A. And I only find out really how they enjoy it from
the questions they ask.
Well, from the beginning, I can tell at the end.
Okay. The feeling off the room.
Yeah. There's one little joke early on, and I know how warm an audience they are. But we've played to all sorts of different crowds, and they're really going for the story, which is great. So in fact, with that in mind,
joke. let's
maybe
let you escape.
We'll curtail briefly.
Yeah.
I shall come back and sit in exactly the same position.
Look as glamorous as you do.
Continuity will be exactly the same.
Okay.
You've got both elbows on the table.
Perfect.
Hands
Let's
clasped
remember.
like that.
Okay.
Remember
You had one finger there.
I had one finger there. So we'll see you on all 1, 2, 3, 3 these cameras in a few minutes' time.
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Cheers. Okay, so you've just come from introducing the film.
Yes.
Do you get a feel of them immediately?
You do actually, because, well, I tell you what happens. Very often you sort of wander onto the stage of the cinema and people are a bit tense and the atmosphere's not like it is before a play. You want, and so I tend to go on and say that I'm Tony Hawks, but that was a bit naff, so I'll go on, introduce myself again and you can welcome me. And they laughed at that and then they gave me a big round of applause. And then we had some fun. I talked about how, you've come to see a film loosely about tennis at the time when there's a big tennis match on, because Murray is playing
tonight.
At the moment. He's on the television at the moment.
Oh, right.
But they're a very nice crowd, actually.
Okay.
So that will be, that'll be good. And I think it should be a good Q&A at the end.
Yeah, I mean, how big's the theatre? Is it?
It's a small theatre. So
okay.
About 100, I don't know, maybe 130, something like that.
Okay, but hopefully a nice sort of number to yeah. I mean, doing these introductions at the beginning, it's in no way stand up, but do you enjoy the interaction of that after working on something to greet an audience in person?
I mean, I think because really the event is the film and then the Q&A afterwards, and I quite like you don't have to do it. I could just come at the end, but I think you've come to the town, the city where the thing is, and I think it just. I'm in the film all the way through. They've seen the bloke who's in the film that will be introduced here. I think it warms the whole event up a bit. So, it seems like a nice way of doing it. But I don't literally do about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm not doing a routine. I'm just sort of welcoming them and telling them to get ready with some questions at the end.
So, what was did you do the same thing for Round Island with a Fridge? Was that?
I have done. Yeah, we didn't do as many, but did do. And we showed the film Round Island with a Fridge at the Bath Film Festival a bit later in the year, which we may come back with this again.
Okay, that would be a good thing. So, it's been a little while since you've actually done a tour, is it? Or was that last year?
Last year, did a tour, October, November last year, actually. And this is so much easier because, of course, when you do a tour, if I was doing a show tonight, I'd be on stage now, setting everything up, doing sound checks, running lines, improving bits, and all that, and then you do 2 hours. So this is a dream.
This is You've done all your hard work already.
Yeah.
So this is almost the payoff.
It is a bit actually, and it's nice, and there's a nice experience, and because the film is unusual in that the intention for it is to do some good, and in this part of the world, which is the poorest country in the world. There's a really lovely feeling in the room at the end of the film and during the Q&A, and then afterwards when I sign DVDs and things, and so that it really is quite a heartwarming experience.
Yes,
And as you say, you've done all this work on it. It's nice to meet people who've enjoyed it. Otherwise, with film, you do it, it goes out there, and there's no contact.
I think, I think that's particularly the thing. If it's scooped up by a production, you kind of just never see it again, and you kind of lose it.
Well, also, you don't see any return on it because the way it works is most cinemas will take 70% of the box office. 30% is left then, and then that'll go half and half with the distributor, who will recoup all their costs for advertising and everything else. And I was told by a sales agent in the business, he said if you make £1 million in the UK box office, you won't see a penny of it.
Really?
So I've had to do this other model, which is like pretty much self-distribute, get out there, do it yourself, because at least we can then make some money for this care centre.
And the thing is, not many people are doing that, I don't think. Are there any other people, to your knowledge, that are kind of...
No, I don't think so. I mean, the model for making money on films really is that it's a global market, so you've got to create something that'll sell around the world. I mean, sell to TV as well. I mean, this is where we'll hopefully do well on this. BBC acquisitions people are looking at it. One of them already likes it, so it's a good chance this will go to TV at some point, and then you start to rake more money in and various things. But it is really, anyone thinking of making a film out there,
do it yourself.
Well, do it yourself, but it's tough. It is tough. Unfortunately, Picture House cinemas have been great and got behind it.
Yes, yeah, and I think once you've got the backing of one, it just makes it easier, and it's to know that they're on board. And I mean, how do you sell it to them? Do they come and see it first?
You do have to do screenings, and you can do this thing where you bring all the distributors in, all the cinema buyers in together. But I went to Picture House, and this seemed to be the best route to take. And so that's where we've gone.
So was it exclusively with Picture
House and their sort of ancillary cinemas that they have for this period, and after that we can go to any cinema that really wants to show it.
And then will be released on DVD and things like that?
Yeah, it's out on DVD now.
Oh right,
okay. And to stream as well. So you can go to moldovansmovie.com to buy the DVD, or pay £4 and stream it from your laptop or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because can't you watch the Round Island with the fridge for free, and then you can?
Well, we did do that, and then what happened was when we sold it to the BBC, they didn't want us to do it, so we may return to doing it again. I mean, it's an interesting model. You show the film and you say to people you can watch it for nothing. If you enjoyed it, make a donation of a few quid, and it worked actually. Especially when people like it a lot, because people recognise you can't make a film for nothing. But it's sort of better to do that, I think, than just have a film sitting around not generating any income, or you really do want people to watch what you make.
Yeah, and that's the primary thing, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure the money is great, and in this case, it's going for a great cause. But if no one sees it, that's the primary thing, I suppose.
And people are, I've always felt this. People are fundamentally nice. They know the deal. They kind of go, you know what? If I enjoyed that, if I'd gone to the cinema, if I'd bought this, it would have cost me something. Even if they're not giving it to charity, which in this case, this is going to help a care centre in Moldova eventually. But in the case of Round Island with a Fridge, you just say, look, we got people to put money into this. We'd like to repay them. People understand that.
Yes. Has it got to a point where you kind of think, it's just so much work? You think...
I mean, I'm pretty close to that. I mean, I enjoy, actually, the whole process. It's a new thing for me. I've never thought of doing it. And I would like to do it again. It's just that next time out we'll have to have... This has been a slog. Once I realised that the only way to actually make a return on this was to pretty much self-distribute and do it all then it became, admin hell for a while and really hard work. I did it, and we've done it, but I like the creative side. That's what I want to do, really, and let someone else take care of the other side.
That's the bit that excites you.
It's the other thing is that we had to organise getting the certification. You have to get the DVD pressed. You have to get all the artwork done. I mean, it's everything really. I've been doing calling people to arrange interviews and all that. I mean, obviously, the more you get people to volunteer to help, but then people are very kind. But if something else comes up and they're not doing it, you're left high and dry. So sometimes you just got to say, just do it myself.
So, I mean, with the film yourself, you're obviously acting in it. Were you co-directing it?
Yeah.
Right. So you had someone else that you were working with.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was, I would guess, very helpful because you can't direct from a.
Yeah, I mean, people do direct films that they're in, and I mean, if I was ever going to do anything like it again, I think I'd hire somebody to almost be me until it was time for the take, almost,
Right.
Even reading the lines and doing everything. So you can direct the other actor without being in a scene with them. So we'll just concentrate on you, the lines are going to come, but you react, and then you run it a few times together. But it is so difficult to direct somebody, for me anyway, when you're doing the lines, because you're thinking of your own performance, and actually if you think they've done something that you don't want to do, you then can't deliver your next line, or you're trying to think, must remember to tell them that when we've finished run. also, if you stop somebody in the middle of a scene and start saying, "Can you not do it like that, please? Can you do it like?" It undermines their whole technique.
And also your role is sort of.
You become this sort of picky character. If you're a director, you can make a little note. You can come in at the end of the scene. You can say, "That's fantastic. This is good. Could you just try this a little bit more like that?" Blah blah blah. But that's difficult to do when you're in the scene. So that would be the way I do it if I decide to, punish myself again and make another film.
But it's the directing that really excites you. Although, I mean, obviously you enjoy the acting as well, the performance side of it.
I actually enjoy it all. I like writing the screenplay. I like I did the music for this film and edited it with the editor. Together we did it. I like every single bit of it, but I think the directing I couldn't do properly last time because of the way we'd set it up. So I would be able to do it, I think. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd cast somebody else and not be in a film. But if it happened to be a film of one of the books I'd done
about you,
about me, and also if it's on a sort of tight budget, I'm the only person that's available for that amount of money for that amount of time. So it's practical. You can do it if it's you.
Yes. Yeah. So in terms of do you think you'll go back to doing the tour thing as a sort of next project, maybe?
A stand-up tour.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think what I might do is, more festivals and things like that, and possibly even write a little bit of a show about how moving a book to screen and use the footage and the outtakes and various things and do something like that. So that might be an interesting show to write.
It's doing something because you've acquired so much experience through physically producing stuff.
Absolutely, and maybe pass that on, and then have a Q&A at the end, and maybe do more of a festival circuit. And the stand-up scene, in a way, it feels like I've kind of grown out of it a bit. It
feels like it's moving in a different direction to you, maybe, or.
Look, it's a great night out for people and to go and laugh. But there's more to life than sitting down and thinking, I wonder if I can find a witty quip or a funny line about that. These bigger chunks of work are more rewarding.
I think I was chatting to Nick Helm, and he said that he would love to work on a film because it's something that you chisel away at, and it's something. And at the end of it, you've got a piece, whereas. It must be exhausting being a stand-up that you're just constantly trying to prove yourself. You've got another performance, another audience to win at.
I mean, it's a slog. I mean, the nice thing about this is you asked me earlier what the crowd like. It wouldn't have actually mattered if they weren't that great a crowd. They still would have watched the film and they still would have followed the story. And I mean, there was one audience that we did. They were quite quiet, quite shy, and they loved it, and the film still worked. But I wasn't out there going, oh God, this is hard work. Oh God, how am I going to laugh? I'll try this. You get exhausted when there's an audience that's tough, and you love it when there's an audience that just laughs at everything. But with a film, you don't need to worry. This is supposed to be a film that will touch them in certain ways, and we've created that, fortunately.
It's not all about the funny, more to life than the funny.
I mean, the thing is, this is actually, I would never bill this as a comedy film. There's funny moments in it, definitely, but it's quite a serious subject, really, in a way. It's about somebody taking on a wacky bet and going to a country they knew nothing about, discovering it's the poorest country in Europe, discovering that healthcare's collapsed, people haven't been paid for 6 months. This is borderline bad taste, what I'm doing here. Falling in love with a family, wanting to give something back, and my translator, his dream was always to leave Moldova, and then I just leave at the end, and he's heartbroken. And there's so many different levels to it.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
I will let you escape because I know you've got a meal.
Thank you.
But thanks so much for doing this.
Well, thank you.
It's a real pleasure.
And good luck with it. And soon you'll have your own show.
Let's hope so.